Welcome back. The crisis in Syria is worsening. The Ghouta area is still being bombarded by government forces. And as the death toll rises and the suffering increases, once again, there has been no action at the United Nations to stop it. The obstacle again is Russia. Russia has vetoed 10 previous UN resolutions on Syria and has consistently used its permanent seat on the Security Council to protect Syria's President Bashar al-Assad from UN actions on war crimes, including blocking a resumption of UN investigations into the use of chemical weapons by Syrian forces. Russia is now the go-to power in Syria, with tremendous influence over Assad, Turkey, Iran, and Israel. Israel is now in a position where it has to notify and in a way even ask permission from the Russians before taking defensive action with strikes against targets in Syria that threaten Israel's security. Russian President Vladimir Putin is leading the situation in Syria on the ground and with diplomacy. And with Syria so pivotal to the region, the might of Russia there poses a challenge to the U.S. as the global superpower. So how did we get here? Well, a big miscalculation from the Obama administration. Obama's reluctance to get involved left a vacuum which Russia filled. Obama's weakness and failure to act after Syria crossed his red line with its use of chemical weapons gave Putin the green light to sweep in. Obama dismissed the Russian threat. Remember how he mocked Mitt Romney in a presidential debate in 2012 for saying that Russia is the greatest geopolitical threat to the U.S.? Well, Obama was wrong and Romney was right.
Governor Romney, I'm glad that you recognize that al-Qaeda is a threat, because a few months ago, when you were asked what's the biggest geopolitical threat facing America, you said Russia. Not al-Qaeda, you said Russia. And the 1980s are now calling to ask for their foreign policy back.
Russia, I indicated, is a geopolitical foe. Not a,
Number one,
excuse me, it's a geopolitical foe. And I said in the same paragraph, I said, and Iran is the greatest national security threat we face. Russia does continue to battle us in the UN time and time again. I have clear eyes on this. I'm not going to wear rose-colored glasses when it comes to Russia or Mr. Putin.
Well, perhaps Obama was wearing those rose-colored glasses as he was consistently weak and ineffective with his foreign policy towards Russia. Perhaps it was his naivete, or perhaps he was more interested in pushing his legacy foreign policy moves like opening up relations with Cuba without getting anything in return, and yes, making that terrible Iran nuclear deal. Either way, Obama failed to recognize Russian aggression that was clearly demonstrated with the Russian interference in the 2016 elections. Now, that happened on Obama's watch. As we've learned, Obama was well aware that it was happening, and now even Democrats feel he didn't do enough. Even Representative Adam Schiff has acknowledged that the Obama administration's response to Russian involvement in the election was not sufficient. Special counsel Robert Mueller recently indicted 13 Russian nationals who, from in or around 2014 till now, had been engaged in a campaign to interfere with U.S. political and electoral processes, leading President Trump to tweet the following. Question: if all of the Russian meddling took place during the Obama administration right up to January 20th, why aren't they the subject of the investigation? Why didn't Obama do something about the meddling? Why aren't Dem crimes under investigation? Ask Jeff Sessions. Now, keep in mind, these indictments are not proof that the Trump campaign colluded with the Russians. And as much as the Democrats would like them to be, they're also not proof that these Russian operations changed the outcome of the election. So far, the Mueller investigation, even with the recent developments regarding campaign chairman Paul Manafort and deputy campaign manager Rick Gates, has no link to President Trump colluding with the Russians. Putin is not on Team Trump. Putin is on Team Putin. The Russian goal is to create chaos and discord and to spread disinformation and to make Americans question our own system and institutions, to divide and conquer. Well, they're certainly doing a good job of dividing. Yes, Obama was the president when Russia meddled in the presidential election. Obama was president when Russia took over Syria. But this is now Trump's mess to clean up, and he needs to act. The president is being criticized for delaying sanctions against the Russians. A fair criticism on the surface of it, but as always, politics are more nuanced and complicated, and the impact of the sanctions extend beyond Russia and to some strong U.S. allies. Russia has clients around the world that buy arms from companies on the sanctions blacklist. Those include India, the United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia. So enforcing the sanctions would mean the U.S. would be punishing its allies. It's a tricky position, but ultimately, one way or another, President Trump needs to take some action and demonstrate that the Obama era of American weakness is over. That's my take. I'd love to hear your say. Thanks for watching Clear Cut. I'm Michelle Makori.